Mwasibire muta, mwasibye mutya, amahoro, agandi, Bible, habari gani, muraho, sangonini, kopango, odeo. For those of you who are wondering what that was, these are some of the various local greetings found in East Africa's diverse languages. Welcome to SheCentre, the female podcast, where I dive into the issues and experiences that affect women everywhere. I am your host, Resti Kansime, and I am passionate about creating a safe space for women to share their stories and triumphs. I want to thank you for tuning into my podcast, and I would love for you to join our community and stay connected with us beyond this episode. You can find us on Instagram at _SheCentre_podcast and follow us on Facebook at the SheCentre Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and hit that follow and like button on our social media to be part of the conversation. God, we are already in 2025. I want to welcome you all to the new year. Hi guys, happy new year. Happy 2025. This is the first time that we're hearing from each other on SheCentre, the female podcast. Welcome back. I want to thank you all for listening. It's been an amazing holiday season. I have enjoyed it so much. I hope that your new year has started off at a very, very good fresh start. And I hope that you're enjoying yourself. I'm hoping that this year is the best yet for you. Thank you once again for tuning in to SheCentre, the female podcast. I am happy to have you here, and I am ready to kickstart our new episode for the year. To start this season off, I want to tell you a very short story. So there was this guy in America who was I think a youth, and he was part of a gang, and he unfortunately sometime I think robbed or did something and killed another young man. And while he was being tried in court, it turns out that he barely had anyone. And as you know, in many cases, when you go onto when you're getting into court, they kind of bring your whole life on top of, on the surface and discuss it and trying, the lawyer of the criminal is trying to humanize them, to try to show the jury that, this person has just, had a very terrible life. That's why they're doing the things that they're making. And I read about this story, or I heard about it sometime, and it turns out that this, I think she was a grandma who was taking care of the boy who was killed. And the criminal, while they were trying him in court, it turns out that he didn't really have family, he didn't have anything. And so what happened was this grandma, I believe she was a grandma or a mom, I'm not quite 100% sure, but she realized how hard this guy had it in his life. And when they tried him and sentenced him into prison, she hugged him while he was being taken. And that story really stayed with me because it was so sad, because this woman, yes, she was a Christian and everything, but it showed like humanity. She was so empathetic. Despite the fact that this guy had killed her son or grandson, she was willing to see the humanity in this person. Why am I telling you this story? It's because when this guy was in prison, this woman is the only point of contact he had. And it turns out that when he went to prison, she had lost someone. So she started an organization with a number of people about gun violence or something of the sort. And when this guy came out of prison after getting out on good behavior, he got a house close by near to this woman, and she kind of, they connected. They became almost like family, and he was taking care of her until she died. And he started also working for this organization. So they had their destinies were brought together by tragedy, but it's interesting how they both found their purpose in helping other people, despite what both of them were before this tragic thing happened. The person that I am introducing to you today is someone who also trembled into her purpose. Her story is a little bit different. It's not the same as these two people, but just like the old lady who had to take care of this man and ended up starting an organization where she was helping other people. Our guest today is someone who also trembled into, what's the word? She just fell into things, into her purpose. And her story is a story that starts off very, very, very tragic. Her story is a story that starts out with a very painful experience. She started off with, I read her book. I heard about her from someone I interviewed a couple of, I think at the beginning of in the first season of What Happened to You. That was Sheila. She shared about how her loss of her child, and she said that there was this lady who helped her so much during that period because she had been through the same thing. And so I got onto Instagram and reached out to her. Her name is popularly known as Kecho. She's someone who is really big-hearted, and she's doing amazing work in Uganda. Kecho faced tragedy. She had a miscarriage. She also lost her baby just 2 hours, is it 2 or 4 hours after birth? And while she was going through that, she journaled through her experience and ended up turning it into an amazing book, which is called So What Next? I read the book, and while she was writing, I felt like I was right there with her. I really felt her pain. I felt her journey. I felt like, wow, I really need to speak to this person. And when I reached out to her, she was very willing to join the platform to be able to speak to us. And this is someone who really fell into things. As she says, her purpose is something she would never have imagined, because she said she studied international relations just like me. And it turns out that now she's really impacting people, not only people back home, but she's probably going to impact so many people in the future, like in the whole world, I believe. Kecho is a podcaster. I'm hoping that she could get back to podcasting, because I guess she took a break. She had a podcast which is the same title of her book, So What Next? Where she was explaining what she had gone through, what came up after, and she told the whole story. She is full name Denise Kekimuri, popularly known as Kecho. She's the founder of Vessel Is Me. If you are in Uganda, I'm guessing you've heard about this. This is an organization that helps women who are going through loss of their babies, starting from when the baby is still in the womb and when the baby has been born. She is a perinatal bereavement advocate and a podcaster, as I said, and she is someone who is really, really transforming the lives of very many women and fathers, I would believe, also women and men in Uganda. And I'm very, very honored to introduce her to you onto the podcast, because her work is amazing. She is transforming lives, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear her journey and how she fell into things. So get ready to listen to this amazing episode, and please stay tuned until the end to hear more from Kecho. And I would also like to inform you guys that starting from today, we will be having both the video podcast and the audio podcast available on Mondays. I'm going to do my best. Guys, I told you it's not that easy to edit videos or podcasts. And I think this particular episode might have some issues on video. You notice it had some skipping because I did get some interruptions with my internet. I guess the weather was bad. I don't know what happened, but my internet was not that well. So there's some bit of skipping, but Kecho's is perfect and everything else is perfect. And also, I just have to let you guys know that me and Kecho recorded this for this episode like 3 times, and we always had some kind of issue. So I'm not going to do any more recordings. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to put it out there as it is, and I hope you guys can just enjoy it. But it's not as bad, just to warn you. I just wanted you guys to know. But yeah, starting from today, the video podcast, unless anything happens, is going to be available with the audio podcast on Mondays. And yeah, stay tuned until the end. I love you all. Bye-bye. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Denise. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you, Rusty?
I'm good. The internet is not being our friend.
Yeah.
I am really hoping that this is our last take. Thank you so much for your patience. I don't even know anymore what to say thank you for.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience. I think at this point I'll just introduce everything in the intro that I'll make. Let's just get straight to the point.
Okay.
Yes. So I am answering the question, are you living in your purpose? And what is so interesting about this is because at least I know your story. I know your, like, how you have kind of fallen into what you're doing right now, which seems to be something that fits you very well. You look like you have like a PhD. They should just award you a PhD in the work that you're doing, because I feel like you are the research. You are the person who has invested so much time in learning what you have to do because it involves you. And I think to start out, you can introduce yourself, and maybe also just to the people out there who are listening, because I have I have some people who listen from different places, quite interestingly, very many countries, I'm glad. But I am hoping that you can tell us if you are living in your purpose, and answer the question in particular, how has your journey shaped this sense of purpose for you?
Okay. Thank you so much, Resty.
Yeah, yeah,
My name is
yeah.
Denise Kekimuri. I am the founder of This Me, which is an organization that offers mental health services to bereaved parents. We call them angel parents. Those are people, parents who have gone through baby loss. So from miscarriages, stillbirths, and neonatal deaths. Um,
Yeah.
I live in my purpose. I keep saying, me, I'm Jonah. I've been running away from this purpose for the longest time. I had two losses. I had a miscarriage in 2017, Jan, and baby loss, neonatal death actually, because she died within the first 4 hours of her birth in December of the same year. And going through that experience, I realized, first of all, one, many people have experienced losses, but they have not been
Yeah.
acknowledged, which for me was such an annoying thing because I was like, why is everyone that I'm meeting saying, oh, yeah, even me, this happened to me? And I'm like, uh-huh. And how did you get through this?
Yeah.
Or, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
you continue, you get back on the horse, this proverbial horse, which everybody keeps talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but something has broken inside you. It's like walking around with a broken arm. Do you understand? And I think for me, that
Yeah.
now became my passion, something that I wanted to find how to heal, how to move forward. Do I move forward? How do I keep? Then, in the process of finding that out, I realized, okay, the only way to heal is to go
Yeah.
through this grief. And one of the
Yeah.
ways to honor my babies is to remember them and say
Yeah.
their names and to live with them on a daily. So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, let's start spreading the gospel. And so I wrote a book. I journaled through my season of grief,
Experience. Yeah.
and those journals became the book. So what next? And while I was going around promoting the book, many women would call into radios or TV stations, wherever I was having this conversation about the book, and ask for my either contacts or how do I get in touch with her. So it
Yeah.
started out with me looking for these women. Then it slowly became I was too busy. I was busier than the president of Uganda because I couldn't even believe it. In my head, I
Yeah.
was like, how are
Yeah.
there so many people going through this and there's nowhere where are we getting the support? So my brother-in-law he reached out and said, this is not viable. You can't visit everyone every day. You have to have some kind of organize it. So we
Sustainability.
did
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
conversation and we started out. Our backbone of Vesto is Me support groups. That's how we started. Still is. We meet once every month, every second Saturday of the month, and it has kept us going. And now we have grown. I think it was formed in 2018 December, and yeah, I think we're doing 6 years this year, and we are now moving into. Funny that you say I'm the research. We are now moving into the research part on how to offer support, how useful is it for parents to get help from the hospitals, from their family, from the churches or the places of worship, and the community also, to just raise awareness? Because what we've been
Yeah.
doing for the past 6 years is raising awareness. So now we're moving into the
Yeah.
written part. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I live in my purpose. I think it was more of a, I fell in things. I just fell in it, and that's
Yeah.
how, that's how I've been moving through the past 6 years. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
I do. I know I shared this previously in our first recording, the story that I know of a person who fell in their purpose in such a tragic way. And it's something that is quite, I don't even know, I don't want to say interesting, because I know for someone living out there, in many cases, when someone, I think, like you said, running away from your purpose could be because it's very painful,
Yeah.
and you know what it's going to require of you to do. Like every day you have to deal with this, but then again, as you are experiencing this, and as you are finding that you're not alone, there are many other people out there who are going through this same thing, and you are the one person who is bold enough to come out and take them along the way. You mentioned earlier that the people who are working for you or working for the organization with you are people who have also
Yeah.
experienced this. So, it's like, I don't know if you've watched The Chosen. There's like this,
Yeah.
do you watch the show called Yes?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
a fish going, and then every person that meets that fish like turns around and goes
Yeah.
goes to the opposite direction. Because like many people are experiencing this, and they are going the wrong way. Like
Yeah.
they're, drink, do this, and then you're one person and everyone is like, look at this babe, she's being weird. And then along the way, you turn them blue, and you realize, oh, there's like this whole community. Because in many cases, I might say, oh, yeah, it has never impacted me. And then later on, I realized someone who is very close to me, maybe someone who, like, it could happen to someone in the future. And I'm like, I listened to this lady who is helping. Literally, just this week, I was giving your book to a friend of mine who I told you about last
Yeah.
time. And the conversation came up again. We were talking, and I was telling her, I was very excited to send you the episode of this person, but it's coming out next year. But please read her book in the meantime. And I could see she was so hesitant to take the book, because I
Yeah.
think she didn't want to deal with the pain, because she lost her baby, I think 8 weeks or something like that. And after, thank God, this time around, I had like some information from the conversation that we had with you, because the first time I was literally just blubbering. I was like, yeah, it's like I was panicking. I didn't know what to say. And this time around, like as she was crying, I was like, okay, just listen to her. And I was telling her, I kept saying, yeah, this person wrote down everything. This, like I was saying, like what you did is what I was like encouraging her to do. And I was like, I have no idea what you're going through. But in many cases, to be there for the people that we need to be there for, we don't need to have experienced something. We can know someone who has experienced something. And I think that's the importance of storytelling. And that's one thing that I felt was very important with the podcast, because as I am trying to build a platform, it's also rooted in something that I feel I have experienced like things that I've experienced as a woman, and seeing people in society like my mom and different other people, things they have gone through. But at the end of the day, you're like, I can't even talk about sexual harassment. Like, how can I talk about like laws? Like, I don't know anything about this stuff. But just someone who has experienced it and is bold enough to come and say, hey, this is what happened to me, this is how I'm dealing, that gives me so much peace of mind, because I'm like, guys, it's not my words. Listen to her, and you can be able to learn from this. So I guess what I wanted to ask is like, how has this sense of purpose, like now that you've accepted your Jonah, they have caught you, we threw you in the in the
Deep,
water
deep
when you
end.
were trying to run deep end, the fish caught you, and you are now on the right path. You've gone to Nineveh, and
Yeah.
now that you're in Nineveh and you're all complaining and crying and everything that has happened, I'm sure you've gone through the whole process as an individual. I'm imagining the story of Jonah. He went through also his grief. I don't even know what exactly that is in his sense, but how has that sense of purpose, now that you have embraced this sense of purpose, how has it shaped how you're looking at this organization, because you mentioned earlier about research and how you're going in, because I like that. That's why I said doctor, because I've seen very many celebrities being given the doctoral degree for just maybe researching certain topics. So how has this sense of purpose right now like changed your perspective on this specific topic, and how are you navigating this season of your life right now?
Well, so I think it's been also eye-opening. The fact that we deal with, we are we're also angel parents helping other angel parents. There is there is a need for kindness to show up, either with yourself or with the people you're working with. Being patient with yourself, being compassionate towards others, yourself, starting with yourself. So when we started out, it was really just getting people together to just share their stories and download, like just literally just unburden themselves. Now it's more of, can we get, how do we push this what we are doing out so that the
Yeah.
community can hold people's hands? Because I keep telling the people that I work with that if I could multiply myself, I would love it, but I can't. So what's the best I can do is share the message.
Yeah.
And now that's what has become our forefront. Like, now, be the person that the angel parent wants.
Yeah.
Don't come in with
Yeah.
your set, okay, I'm going to sit with her for 30 minutes and then I leave. What if she wants you to stay over and just sit with her for an hour? Can you spare an hour? Are you seeing her pain? Can you recognize? So
Yeah.
there's three kinds. There's the empathy, which is, most people say, putting yourself in that person's shoes. I don't believe it,
Yeah.
because this is the worst. You can't even imagine it. Like, it's the worst pain that has ever happened to any human being. I lost my mom in 2014, and I thought that was the worst pain I had ever gone through. And then when I lost my babies, I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm dying, guys. I'm dying, and none of you people are seeing me, but I'm dying. I know you see me. You see, I am standing up here, but I'm not normal. Okay, something has broken inside me, and I
Yeah.
I loved that people looked and they said, "Okay, you've gone through this much pain. What can we do to help you?" And the fact that Uganda didn't have up to now, we don't have grief counselors. I keep telling people this because they call and they're like, "So do you have any grief therapists?" I'm like, "No, we don't. In Uganda, we don't.
It's
What
in
we
the
have,
bar. They're
we
in the
don't."
bar.
I'm like, "What
That's
we
how
have,
we deal with grief.
yes." And you know, now
Yeah.
that I think about it, and I'm like, I don't know how I can be grieving, and that my solution is alcohol. Like, it's causing more problems. You understand? So we don't
Yes.
have,
Yes.
you're dealing with something, instead of community turning around and saying, okay, let's embrace this person, let's take them in, they are hurting. It's like walking around with a broken arm. I keep telling people, I'm like, just because I'm going through emotional trauma and you can't see it doesn't mean that I'm doing well. So
Yeah.
now, just having to tell people, listen, don't put yourself in my shoes, acknowledge my pain, just stand there and say, yes, this is happening to you.
Yeah.
I believe your story. I believe whatever is going on. Sympathy is more of pity. Like, oh yeah, poor girl, she's going through all this. I can only imagine. No, you can't. And I wish people could stop saying things like that, because loss of a child is a loss that goes through you. You carried this baby for whatever time.
Yeah.
Most people, I remember the therapist that I saw the first time I'd gone, one of my friends, um, I think she offered a therapy, two therapy sessions. This lady, I'm sitting with her, and she's like, I lost my grandmother. And I was like, are you trying to compare the loss of your baby
Wow.
to the loss of your grandmother, the person who you found here on earth, right? From there, I was cut. I stopped,
You can't
because
go on.
I
Yeah.
was like, you're not getting it, and I don't know why you're trying to understand it. I just want you to believe it, okay? To acknowledge that this is what I'm going through. And later on, I realized, if I can't if I can't receive the help, I'm going to be the help. So that's how now this became somehow. purposeful. I decided that
Yes.
if I can't find the help, I'm going to be the help. So I Googled,
Yeah.
there's an organization in the UK called SANS, UK, and they have an entire bereavement system set up, from the nurses to the
Wow.
doctors to they have the therapists. It's mind blowing. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
it's doable. So that's how I started this. And I was like, okay, whoever goes through my hands has to hold someone else's hand. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not even a must. It's just the way we go when you go through something like this. You can't imagine somebody else going through it and not having anyone. So most of the
Pay it
mothers who,
forward. Yeah. Pay it
yeah.
forward.
So most of the mothers at the end of their sessions or whatever, they're like, "Is there anyone I want to talk to someone I can hold their hand?
Yeah.
How can I be of help?" So this year we started a call center, and that has been the focus for the year. And the ladies
Wow.
who run the call center are angel parents as well. So and they call you and they're like, "Oh my God, I feel for her. I want to go see her." And I'm like, we're trying now to help them on our side so that also we don't get triggered as we're helping, because it happens. There's many times that happen to me. It's even
Yeah.
worse when it
Yeah.
happens. Let's say I meet a mother and she lost her baby at 8 months in the same hospital that I was in, and oh my God, I'm just going through the whole.
Yes.
Oh no, this
That's
happened to
trigger. Yeah. The
you.
whole
Yeah, so
process.
you're going through it, and
Yeah.
so how to protect yourself is also something, so that you're not endangering yourself as you help others.
Yeah.
So that has kind of become the purpose that we are now. How do we pay it forward? Right? So we have the help,
Yeah.
we have the tools, we have the knowledge.
Yeah.
We know because we have gone through it. It just makes it easier when
Yeah.
somebody who has gone through it, they know what to say, they know what not to say, they know where you at. They know in the morning when you wake up and you don't even feel like bathing. They're like, yeah, it's okay, it's normal, it's fine. Or you don't
Yeah.
want to eat,
Yeah.
or you're having suicidal thoughts, or so we get it. We get it. Now, when you talk to somebody who has not gone through this pain, most 9 out of 10 times they have foot in mouth disease. That's what I call it. It's normally that people are uncomfortable sitting with you through your pain. They don't want to.
Yeah.
So they want to rush it through. They
Yeah.
want to push you through. But this is a process. Okay? It's not an event. It's not a one-time thing. This is a whole process. It stays with you till the day you die. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
So how do we help
Yeah.
you go through your next days? Okay, so that within a year, yeah, it's gonna hurt, but you have the tools. Okay, the anniversary is coming up. I'm going to take this time off, and people around you
Yeah.
understand it and they know it and they acknowledge it. So these are some of the things we're going to start advocating for, because we realize that, you know what, we are all broken, but this particular loss finishes you. There are times when you're literally not able to do anything. You're numb. And people are like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with her? Why isn't she, is she still, this is the one I get, because Kitangaza will be on 28, 7 years. So, she's still, yeah, I am. I'm still, and I'm going to still, till, because this was my child. I don't have them here. They are not here with me. So it's a loss to me, and it's a loss that I have to every morning tell myself, okay,
Yeah.
for the betterment of myself, which is basically now the empathy you have to extend to yourself, the compassion you have to extend to yourself. Because it's easy for us to be compassionate towards other people, but we're so hard on ourselves, which is not good.
Yes. Yes.
So,
That's
yeah,
true.
so those are some
Yeah.
of the things that have driven my purpose.
Wow. I'm just thinking about it because, as you said, first of all, it's a very sensitive topic, and in many cases, it requires you to, I don't even know. I think, like you said, like, not only does the person who is going through it need help, like, but the people, the community around them need to be sensitized. Like, they need to be informed in how to be there for people, because at the end of the day, there are many relationships that end up being, wrecked because of things like, you didn't understand me, you just don't care. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, when you're going through the pain, that's all that matters to you. You just want this person to be there for you in a way that they don't know how to be there for you. And I want to know, like, is this something, like, how are you addressing this? Like, how are you sensitizing the community? Is it through your book, your podcast that you are doing? And are there any other ways how you're sensitizing the community? Because I feel like the community is the problem. Starting from the person who is in the labor ward
Yeah,
to the
then
person
yeah.
who is living with you in the house. It could even be your partner, it could be your parent. We are the problem. We don't know what to do. Like, how are you sensitizing us? How is there any strategy that you have for the future for people in Uganda to just be like, I watched this lady, like, you know how they used to sensitize us about HIV?
Yeah, yeah,
And you'd be like, yeah, you know, this is how, like, HIV, whatever, like, all the things that have, like, the pandemics that have happened all over
yeah,
the time. There's
yeah,
a way that now we have this thing of, okay, when I see someone who says they have HIV, I'm not just going to assume it's going to catch me, because I've been sensitive enough to understand that this is what I'm doing. This is how to deal with this person, and to understand that, okay, they are not, you know, going to get me sick. So how, I guess this is a challenge, and maybe you can explain other challenges that you've faced with driving this project to where you want it to be.
So to start with, your number one chief wonder is your partner. Sadly, this is something we figured out later, I think in
Yeah,
4 or 5, because whenever we'd have group sessions, the ladies would show up, and they're like,
yeah,
you know, my husband, he doesn't care. The session became about men, and I was like, this is not helping me. So what we did now, or what we insist on, is you come as a couple, because you're one. And you're the only two people who understand the
yeah,
pain. It's going through him
yes,
the same way it's going through you. It might be at different levels and different understandings, but you guys have experienced the loss together. Then from there, we
yes,
move now to outer family, extended family. How do we deal with? But we start with the couple. That one we have to,
the couple, yeah,
because there was a
yeah,
there was a statistic that I read sometime back. It's like 84% of marriages don't make it through baby loss. And I was like, yes, I
yes,
understand why.
yes,
I
yes,
can see
I
why
can
it's that
imagine, yeah,
high. Because one, there's so much pressure on family building.
the
That
woman,
pressure is
yeah,
being put on the woman. The man is also getting pressure. So we are in like some kind of rant. Yeah, we're going round and
circle,
round the
yeah,
whole thing, rather than, so it becomes, you're not hearing me. You're not understanding me. It's a me. And the guy is also feeling, I'm not acknowledged. No one is coming by. They're not asking me, how am I doing? There's a guy who said that. He said, get you, the hospital
yeah,
people just gave me bills. I was like, what? He said, they passed me like this, and the only thing they gave me was a bill. I was like, oh, Bambi, sorry.
yeah, because he also lost, yeah, he lost
And I was
something
like, oh
big,
no,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, everyone is caring about her. My mom calls me and asks, how is she doing? How am I doing? Why isn't anyone checking up on me? And I was like, yeah, why aren't they checking up on you? So we started awareness
yeah,
campaign
yeah,
to have that in tow, to tell people, listen, deal with them as a couple, because this pain is affecting, it's as much as it's affecting a woman because she's the carrier. Everyone has that thing.
yeah,
She's the one who carried, she's the one, she's the mother. But the father was also waiting to be a dad. Do you get that? So he also has a loss. But men also have the worst part of this whole thing because they are in a silent culture. Who does a man talk to? I always ask this question. I ask, who are you talking to? Men will sit with a guy, are you okay? Are
yeah,
you cool? Are you, yeah, 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 man, sorry, hey, and move on.
yeah, cool, yeah,
So, so, or the father is going to advise you, now you have to be there for her. Who's there for him? You get? So now we had to start, you are each other's support system. Yes, you're going through
yeah,
this, so
very
you're
true,
both sharp edges. You sharp edges, you call them porcupine. You can't hug a porcupine. You get? Because you're all sharp. So
yeah,
how do we darlen you so that you're able to come together and say, okay, today I'm not feeling it, but I can be there for you for this time. Or I need to talk
yeah,
to someone. Are you available? Or it's basically communication. And we always go down to, is this person your friend? Because if it's your friend, you
yeah,
should be able to understand, I'm going through a very hard time right now. I'm also going through a very hard time. If we see that it's not possible, then we put a marriage counselor in between, because most marriages have already, there's so many underlying things. By the time they come to
Yeah.
us, there are issues. Somebody's there, he cheated on me, and I'm like, this is not what I came for. Me, I came for privilege. I didn't come for your underlying issues. You know?
Like they have come, like, please fix everything now that we have the
Yeah.
opportunity.
So we figured, okay, this is the
Yeah.
underlying issues. Let's deal with the underlying issues. When we get to the now sadness of it, come back. So we incorporated marriage counselors. Then we realized, okay, mental health, we need the psychologist, but we also need the psychiatrist, because sometimes the wires, they go. This loss is
Yeah.
very
Very
traumatic,
true.
and most times
Yes.
it's the women who are focused on. But now we are now changing. We're having men come in, because men listen to men. So now we have male psychiatrists coming, male psychologists
Yeah.
coming on board, because men listen to men.
Yeah.
Of course, we've now incorporated the call center, so people can keep their anonymity. So, because some people, there's really a lot of silence around it, and people don't want to. I keep telling people, I'm like, I think when you Google baby loss in Uganda, I'm the face. I'm the one who comes up. I'm not seen.
Yeah.
I always get excited when people are like, there's this person who's talking. I'm like, yes. The more people talk about this, the more we're
Finally.
going to not
Yeah.
normalize it, but the
Finally.
more we're
Yeah.
going to now be able to sensitize and tell the community this
Yes.
is a
Yes.
valid pain. It's
Yeah.
there. Look at us. We are suffering. So not to suffer silent. That's also one of the projects that we are doing. It's a speak out loud project. So you come out, you share your story. So we did that with a podcast. Now we're doing it again with there's something coming up next year to get the stories out there and tell people, listen. We're also now training the
Yeah.
nurses, the hospital staff. Like, listen, when you're giving the news, don't just come and say, you know what, Omano, we are for day. Have some time, sit with it,
Yeah.
say, okay, how do I relay this information to this parent in a way that they will not get another wound from the
Yeah.
hospital? So the first chief wound is
Yeah.
your partner. The second are the hospitals. I don't know what happened. They got they're so around death that they are immune now. So you hear statements like, "You think you're the first? Don't
Caretakers
worry, you
fatigue.
can
Yeah.
have another one."
Yeah.
Mm. That's it. That's it. That caretaker fatigue.
Yeah.
So we're also training them to be also to look after themselves, because they're also affected,
Yeah.
especially the
Yeah. That's true.
neonatal
If they're taking
nurses.
care of,
Yes,
yes.
the neonatal nurses are really affected because they are putting in their all to save the baby, and when the baby dies, they are also crushed. So we have
Yeah.
a
It's too
testing
much for you.
project for them where we take them through some therapy, some counseling, so that they're also, because they're also human beings as well. The doctors, though, their egos are bigger than ours, so not much we can do there, but
Untouchable.
yeah, we do tell them, listen, explain to the mother. Let her live here, and most of her questions have been answered. Because you leave and they don't even tell you why your baby died, or how or what happened. It's just that the baby died.
You
Fill
just
in
blame
some of,
yourself.
yeah. So these are some of the
Yeah.
things we are doing to sensitize, and of course, we just our socials are filled with awareness. We light candles for the babies on different days. The people who call in and they're like, "Hey, Cho, can you please light a candle for my baby? They were born on this day, and I'd like for you to light a candle." So we used to do it. We used to do it. Now we do monthly, because we realized you can light 10 candles in a day.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, so we do it monthly. We say for the
Yeah.
November babies this year, we're doing this for the December babies. We're lighting a candle in their memory. Yeah, and then we also, now we're taking on the candle project. So parents who can get their own individual candles, customized for a vessel, and you light a candle when you miss your child, or when you, on the anniversary or the birthday, or. So these small
Yeah.
things, they matter. I kept telling someone says, like, these things, I said, they really matter, because it's just an
Matter.
acknowledgement. I'm
Yeah.
not running mad.
It's the
It's an
little things.
acknowledgement of
Yeah.
my pain. It's valid. It's there. I had a baby. I want to talk about them, because if they were alive, they would be here. So why can't I talk about them? Yeah. So
Yeah.
these are some of the things. And society, I know it takes a while. African society is really, we are going through a lot. We don't even have ceremonies. We don't have burial for them. I remember one of the mothers saying,
Yeah.
Petro, they're here, they're saying that they're going to take my baby. I said, take them where? But there's a place where they bury them. I was like, you sit down with your husband, you have a burial ground, don't you? You carry your baby and you go and bury your baby. And it was the
Yeah.
closure that she needed. And now, every month, every
She
year,
has
they go
somewhere
and
to
they lay
go. Yeah.
flowers. And it's closure,
Yes.
you know? They are not even, there are some hospitals where the nurses are carrying their own cultural beliefs. So they won't let you hold your baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so now we are telling them, listen, this is a closure point. I need to I need to take pictures of my baby. I need to internalize. Yes, there are those people who don't want anything to do with the baby. Give them that. But what I know is like three,
Yeah.
4 months later, they're going to come back. Did anyone take a picture? Does anyone? I've forgotten how she looks
Yes.
like. And it's one of those things that you're like, I wish I had held. I wish I had. But because
Yes. Yeah.
we've not talked about grief enough as a society, that they start saying you're weird. No, grief has its own ceremonies. Just as birth has its own ceremonies, grief has its own ceremonies.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
we
That's
honor those
true.
ceremonies, there's a way in which the healing process is much easier. You're not fighting. You don't
Yeah.
have more questions than you have answers. And that's the problem with baby loss. Because they'll just come and say, oh, man, I have food. No explanation. No one is telling you, you know, what?
Ngachitalo. Ah.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
it.
shallow. And then they move on. No one is holding your hand. No aftercare. No one is saying, okay, you know what? There's now this organization. They have this call center. You can call them. They are there. They have also experienced loss, so they can hear you and they know what you're going. None of that is was happening. Now we started it. Or there's this support group. They meet every second Saturday. You can go and meet them. This is where they meet. It's just small things, and those little things they bundle. They
Yeah.
and you help the
Yeah. Yeah.
parents
They
also.
compile. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
so we have different also of course days where we are raising awareness on different things. October is our main month, so we have a pregnancy and infant loss awareness month. But there are different things in the
Yeah.
middle where we have International Bereaved Mothers Day. We have Father's Day, Bereaved Father's Day. So we have
Yeah.
different events that we go through the year, and we have events where we call parents to come and talk. We have workshops with doctors, that doctors meeting the patients, which is very important because sometimes
Yes.
the
Yes.
medical
Yes.
staff don't hear. So it's good for them to hear from the source itself so that they know how to
From the
improve
yeah.
their services.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
yeah,
true.
these are
Actually.
some of the those are some of the issues. Those are some of the sensitivities.
As you were explaining most of these things, I was thinking this is something that is quite easy to access for people who are like in the cities, or people who are like, advanced with technology. Are there any strategies that you have with regards to people who are, deep in the
The grassroots.
villages, or
Mm.
people who are, yeah, are there any strategies? Because this is also something that I thought about. I was like, okay, online platform. And then I was like, okay, what about my guys, those ends in Fort Portal? How am I going to reach them? And how am I going to support them? How for you have you dealt with this? Because I saw recently on your status you posted when you were in, I think, in the east, somewhere in
Mbale.
the east, and you were posting about the near, yeah, in Mbale, yeah. So how have you managed to, incorporate these people and also think about them in a way with regards to your platform to reach them?
So this has been a challenge. It's been a huge challenge because one, I know two languages in my life. Okay, three. But how to get people? How do you share a message in a language that they understand? How do you get to people? So one of the things that we did, and I said I'm starting within my circle of influence. I'm not going to go to the woman down in the Katale when my people here who are within me are not yet, they've not yet had the gospel. Do you understand? So I
Yeah, yes,
started
yes,
within
yes.
the urbanites. Then now we are slowly moving out into the rural areas, but we are going through the whole because we learned that people in the villages listen so much to Musao. Musao is always right. Musao and
Yes,
chairman.
yes. Oh, yes. They
Yeah.
can make them take Panado for everything, and
Yes.
they'll tell you that Musawa told me.
Yes.
You're right, you're right.
Musao
Yes.
and chairman. So we said, okay, we have to sensitize them. We start with them. Then we share the then they share the message with them. So our call center
True.
calling has Luganda and Runyakore. um operate. So you can call in. So these are now the people who carry the information. They're like, only because you know who's going to tell you that somebody has lost a baby? It's the chairman who's going to know in the community. Who's
It's
going
the
to tell you in the
chairman. Yeah,
hospital?
yeah.
It's the nurses who know.
The
So
nurse.
so
Yeah,
now they
that's
are
true.
we are partnering with them to get our people to pull them out, and they get the support that they need, because
Yeah,
even them they're like,
yeah.
"Ono ekitalo kyabadde kati tubayamba atya? How do we help them?" And because of that, we are slowly now saying, okay, we might even need more languages. How are we incorporating now? How do we get can we get AI to help us in this way, where we can have pre-recorded
Yes.
messages or something, so that people, because honestly the whole truth about this journey is just being heard. Let me tell you something. It is magic, for somebody to call in and just say,
Yeah.
"Ana omwana wange
To
yafudde,"
be seen.
and then the other person
To
is
see.
mbitegeera, I know what you're going through. Nange nayitamu lulululu, omusawo n'angamba naye obudde bwe bugenda, as time goes on, they start
Yeah,
getting,
yeah, that's
you get,
true.
yeah. So it gets easy. It does get easier. You just find ways of coping with it, and that's what we're trying to do. So getting to the rural
Yeah.
people is now the next. That's why I said when we're going into research, we're trying to say, okay, how do we get that
How
home?
do you expand out? Yeah, to
Yes.
them. Yeah,
How do we
that's
get to
true.
her
Yeah.
and get her the services, so that at least if she didn't have the services and she was operating or working or farming or whatever, she can understand why she's not back to normal. Yes. Or why she's
Yes, to
or
give
why she's
her,
traumatized, she can't
yeah,
today want to
afterlife
go to
and
the
language.
husband
Yeah.
because they want to get a baby again, because the baby might die. And how does society also embrace her and say, listen, this was not your fault. The hospital explained, they tried to help you. This is what it is. So coming
That's true.
coming
Yeah.
round to that and getting them the information. First, information is very important in this whole thing. If you get them the information, then they come for the support. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I love that. I think it's very important because, as you mentioned, there you don't have to strain yourself to to talk to every lady in the village, but you can always find those points. Those points where they're like,
Mm,
okay, we love church, we love this.
mm.
Because also another thing is like I don't know if you've considered also like churches. This is a place where many people might want to go for. What they're going through, but the priest or whoever is in the on the pulpit might not understand how to be there for this person, because how many am I going to preach against, like, if this is happening very frequently. But I'm very glad that you're doing that. And I think one thing I wanted to ask, with regards to the challenges that you faced, have you found a lot of like pushback with these collaborations that you're trying to make, and how have you dealt with this?
So it's funny you said the churches. Churches also chief wounders. They are in that. Yeah. There's a lady who was told that her baby died because she didn't tithe, and I felt like, guys, you're just making up stuff as we go along. We
Yeah,
need
I
to
know.
find ways of helping these people. If you don't understand it, direct them to us. So
Yeah.
most places, um, especially places where doctrine, where religion and culture are, those are the gatekeepers of those are my pushback. That's basically, because they'll say, oh, the Baganda have this thing, don't bury, because if you bury women who are of
You won't
childbearing
have
age, if
another
you
one.
bury, you block the next baby coming. That's one of the beliefs. So that's already a closure point that you're missing. So you're not burying your baby. You
Yeah.
don't visit the grave. The grave is unmarked. It's somewhere there. It's a heap of soil, unmarked. That is you're erasing my memories. And yet I need my memories to move through. Church, they tell you
Yes.
don't talk about
Yes.
it. Just pray about it. I need to talk about it. I need to talk to someone about it before I run mad. I need to hear. There are people, most people who go through this loss have between them and God, there's a lot of space, because they are thinking, God did this to me. God took my baby.
Yes.
God,
Yes.
God, because He made
Yes.
it pain. And I wish the church would get away of explaining this in a way that it doesn't become the fault of the parents.
Have you found, like, just to interrupt you a little bit, because you mentioned how God did this to me, but there are also those in the villages who go to witch doctors.
Yes,
There's another witch doctor starts getting money, saying, "Eh,
yes.
what do they call it?
With
It is your the
your
other woman who
ancestor.
likes your
Then
guy."
there's one, there's
Yes,
actually your part. There's a lady who said her, I think my co-wife, she sent me things.
yes, yes, and
And
then they spend like millions of money on
I'm
something
like,
that won't even bring
and
them
all this
healing.
would be disseminated if they were given the information at the hospital.
At the hospital, exactly,
You
exactly.
see,
Yeah,
if the
yeah,
doctor comes and says,
yeah.
"Omwana okatomani abadde alina amazzi mu mutwe," and then we tried to resuscitate, but this is what
Yeah,
it's clear. We tried, we did this.
true.
The heart was not pumping. Tell me what happened. Okay, they came early. We
Yes,
tried to help
yes,
them, but they died. That in itself, you have cut my problems by 50%. You've, I know,
yes,
I know what killed my baby. That is already, you've now I just have to deal with the information you've given me. Let me now process it.
yes,
So
yes.
the pushback has actually been from places of religion and culture because there's this whole, it's already said, God is testing you. No, God, don't be doing God's job for you. He didn't ask you. This person is going to get their own
I know,
revelation
right?
from God. I remember at a certain point, there's somebody who said, I don't like it. I also don't like it. I don't like that ashes, beauty from ashes gospel. But it happens. I've seen it happen a million and one times when I'm in this work that I do. And I've seen women go from, I don't know why God has done this to me, to, oh my God, this is why God did this to me. Or this is why, this is what I'm supposed to be going through. Myself, even, just to figure out and have this whole organization come out, a book, the organizer. I'm like, if you had told me in that hospital room, I'd have slapped you. I'd have slapped you so hard. But, oh, this is going to become beautiful. Oh, there's a lesson here. I would have slapped you. Nobody wants to hear it, but it slowly happens. And that's how God, those are the miracles. Those are the little miracles that will come. So let the person go through their journey. But that's the pushback that I get the most. It's cultural and it's
Yeah.
religious. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm even just, it's like a whole movie. You guys should make a movie and explain some of
Somebody
these
said
things,
that.
because yeah,
Somebody
you
said
guys
that.
should get a collaboration with someone and make a movie. But thank you so much for explaining this, and I think it gives so much, it's so much understanding, and there's a lot to learn about the topic. I wanted to ask before we close out, looking ahead, how do you see your purpose and your contribution growing? And what role do you think platforms like SheCentre can play in supporting women through this process of discovering and evolving their purpose?
Well, in the future, I really wish people would tell their story. And I think that for me is what I'm looking for. These are the collaborations I'm looking for now, even with the She Center, to get the stories out there, because the power of a story, you guys have no idea. When somebody sits down with you and explains to you, 7 years ago, I could not get out of my bed. There's a month I stayed in my bed, but now I'm in Mbale doing trainings for health
Yeah.
workers. It's a story. There's a journey in there, but it's a story. So there's power in telling your story. Especially, I want more women to share their story, because this, and men, we should give voice to this particular loss. Because when I lose a mother, when I lose a father, everybody's there. But when I lose a baby, I'm losing friends, I'm losing relationships, I'm losing everything is going away from me. No one is there to support me and sit with me and offer help.
Yeah.
Why? Why is it like this?
Yeah.
Can we? I feel like if we tell the stories, we kind of get to the root. Why is it that a nurse is going to come and tell me you can't hold your baby? Why? What is it? What's the belief here? Why? Who came up with this whole you're going to block the next baby? Who? Why? Why did they say it? What was happening at that time? And there's even research that supports that, yes, before they used to, literally, the training for the nurses was erase the baby. Don't bring anything near them. In fact, put them in another room altogether. Let them not hold their babies, because they thought that by suppressing, the mother would be able to move forward.
Move
And yet now
forward.
they're
Yeah.
realizing
Yeah.
suppression is actually
That
not
it's
helping,
actually making
making it
it
worse.
worse. Yeah,
They end up
exactly.
with postpartum depression, and they're not understanding. Even after they
Depression.
give
Yeah.
birth, they're still going through a lot of anxiety and
Yes.
depression.
Yes.
Why? So now there are studies that come in. So I feel these platforms are really necessary, because when I hear your story, I'm also encouraged to one, know what to do, how to help somebody. I also know that now it's normal, it's happening. I also know now to be
Yeah.
careful. There's a lady, a friend of mine who got my book, and his wife was pregnant, and he was reading the book while she was pregnant, and she gave birth like a month ago. And he was like, Kecho, I had to advocate for my baby. These people are going to kill my baby. And it's because I read your book that I saw that
Yes.
then
Yes.
why is my baby not breathing properly? He had to go in there, and he was like, there's something wrong with my baby. And he advocated for the baby. And now the baby, they got out of hospital and they're fine. But it's like those women in there who are
Wow.
there, they don't know, Kecho. You have to keep
It's
telling
just
them
a
that,
number.
like,
It's just a
and
number.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like how many
So
births today? 20. That's
when
it. How many died? 5. They
yeah,
just move on.
you're just a statistic there on their papers, So he was like, when he called me and he told me that, I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to now start getting these stories and putting them out there, because people have to learn to advocate for yourself, and
Yeah.
I think to
Yes.
me that was the
Yes.
take home from this. I'm like, if you don't learn to advocate for yourself, no one's going to do it for you. Same way that you have to advocate and say, listen, I lost a baby. I need you to understand that I am pregnant the second time and I lost a baby. So don't be coming at me and saying I've had too many ultrasounds. The last time there was a code around and they found out later. So I'm still traumatized by it. I have learned my lesson. So please listen to me when I say take the scan again. Yet. So I think that's how this message pushes, and I think this is how these platforms they would help. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Thank you so much. And I hope that you can go back to the podcast and put out more episodes, because I
We
think
will.
it's very important for, you might listen to something and not realize how important it might be in the future,
Mm,
because as you said, this person read your book and it helped them in the process they were going through. Because
mm,
when you're hearing, yeah, this is about people who have lost their parents, you're like, okay, I've not dealt with this. But then when you're going through the process, you're like, wait a minute, there's this lady, I heard
yeah.
about her. But then now when you're going, like, where is this story? Like, how can I find the healing? How can I find this? And yet in the beginning, you kind of felt like,
I
this
don't
is
need it.
nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that you're putting the stories out there. Like you said, no one really ever knows what the men are going through. Like how Hollywood right now is trying to tell stories for all kinds of people,
Mm,
Asians, Africans, and everyone is
mm,
trying to like explain how everyone is dealing with this life that we are going through.
mm.
So thank you so much for that, and definitely, I'm looking forward to further collaborations with you in the future. Do you guys have like a Facebook group or anything like that where like people can just automatically join, or do you have to first contact you?
No, people can join. We're on all our socials though. People can join. We have WhatsApp groups as well, which people normally, I think they share a link. I'm going to I have to find out from our social media person, but I think they share a
Yeah.
link on the Facebook, on the Twitter and Instagram. I think the numbers are there, so people can just
Yeah.
join and get the support that they need. Most of them parents on those
Yeah.
pages are active at
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, because those are the we call them the dark hours, but for us they are the light hours. Because that's when now you either can't sleep, or you're dreaming, or you had a dream, or you remembered.
Yeah.
So they come on, and yeah, and it's good. I think it's good to share these things, because somebody can say, yeah, even me, I used to go through this, or now there's a lady who holds other people's hands through the WhatsApp group. She's also an Indian
Yeah.
mom. We tried to get for the men. We realized no men want solutions. So when the men call, we always ask them, what is it? Is it marriage? Is it you? Do you
Yeah.
need help? Is it your mental health? Is it her? Most of them call on her behalf. I'm like, no, no, no. You're the one here. You're the one I'm talking to. What do you need? Yeah. And most times men want solutions. So he will call. There are
Yeah.
men who call and they're like, she's been crying and she's not stopping to cry. And we're like, and you? No, me, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm like, okay, this one needs a psychologist. share number, they call
Yeah.
and contact, and they get the help that they need. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much for the work you're doing, and I really appreciate your time. I look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
how this is going to really grow and go into other countries, because I don't think it's in that many countries in Africa.
No, no,
Yeah.
not.
Okay, thank you. Please help me spread the word by sharing our episodes with your friends, family, and followers. Let's amplify the voices of women, break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and create a network of support and empowerment. Together, we can bring about positive change and make this world a better place for all. This is SheCentre, the female podcast, where women's stories matter. I love you all. God bless.